Having read all of your books, I'm
Thank you.
I'm part of your right up the street. Having read all of your books, I'm interested in if you're looking forward to seeing William effing Shatner tomorrow.
I think that bill goes on after I leave. I have to leave early tomorrow. I have a family commitment tomorrow night. I was actually really looking forward to that. He's referring to a story that I wrote in my book, Dancing Barefoot, about the first time I met Mr. Shatner, and he wasn't especially nice to me. And, I mean, we've since kind of gotten over it, but it's still a funny story. You know, it's one of those things that 20-something years later I can finally laugh about, which apparently is the half-life of how long it takes me to laugh is 20 years. I would encourage you, if you are here tomorrow, to get a seat early because he's really, really funny when he does his convention kind of things. Yes?
On Big Bang Theory, you play an evil version of yourself.
I do. That's very nice.
Do you have a backstory on how Evil Will became evil? And if you do, would you share it with us as Evil Will?
I don't have time for this. Today, this convention's a fucking drag. Even Wil Wheaton, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thanks.
You kind of seem like you didn't respect yourself, or you swear that the kind of you kind of keep it more appropriate. And seem a lot more uncensored.
Right.
More creative, you have a lot more fun in being able to do things that.
Well, Chris and I have been friends. Well, you know this if you listen to the podcast. Those of you who don't, Chris and I lived together when we were in college, and we've been friends for over 20 years, and that's just kind of the way we are with each other. When I am appearing at a convention where there's families and there's children and there's people who are sensitive, who write emails when they get offended. Seriously. I do make an effort to just sort of be cognizant of that. You know, it's like Eddie Murphy says, like, I managed to slip in some jokes between the swears. You know, it's not like I just get up there and it's just straight string of profanities. Another enormous difference between doing Chris's podcast and appearing at a con, like, we could just talk until we were out of air. And at a con, like, it needs to be a little bit tighter, and I only have a certain amount of time, and it's important to me, like, I know there's a lot to do here, and it's important to me that I sort of respect the amount of time you've chosen to give me with a performance that, you know, most people can enjoy. So it's just, I just sort of approach the two things differently. Balls.
If Sheldon from Big Bang Theory was to show up right now, what would you do?
I would just walk up really close to him, really invade his personal space, peer intently into his forehead, just to make sure that I remembered to make the bed in my house.
I want to know, where did you get your cool Aeofel shirt?
I got my cool Aeofel shirt from you. And where would other people be able to get a cool Aeofel shirt if they were so interested in that?
You can get your cool Aeofel shirt that says Aeofel Lives, or the Aeofel family crest shirt. You can find it on my Twitter account, PKMN_trainer, Pokemon trainer, on Twitter. Enjoy. Actually, I do have a question. Sorry, my own advertiser.
Yeah, not a lot of questions are sponsored, actually. That's yeah, and usually when a question is sponsored, I'm the one getting paid for it.
Something resonated with me, and the fact that you said you didn't really get a con and the brotherhood until you were a bit older. And, you know, I didn't get a chance at PAX to thank you, but when I was growing up, I lived in the middle of nowhere in a redneck community, so playing video games was a very lonely experience for me. And being into comic books, you know, my brother and I grew up reading them and playing video games. I watched my brother play through Clock Tower on the PS1. Does anybody else remember that game? Yes. Oh my God.
Some of them do.
Nightmare. Okay. And so coming to PAX the senior year of high school and going to Emerald City the freshman year of college, it was really life-changing because I got to see and be with people and not be afraid to be a nerd, and to have people like you and Gabe and Tycho from Penny Arcade say, be yourself and be a nerd and it's okay, was really helpful to me growing up. So.
That's awesome. I had a panel at this convention a couple of years ago that Ed Brubaker described as like a nerd AA meeting. We all just sort of got together and shared our nerd stories. And there was this girl who was she was in high school, and this was a number of years ago, and she said, I just want to know that it gets better. I just want to know that like it's okay, and what happens. And you know, like I turned into a dad, and I was like, yeah, it does. You know, it does get better, and it gets better because of people like us. You know, we create an environment where it's okay to love this stuff, and it's okay to be who we are. And you know, like the sooner we can get to that without spending a lot of time in edition wars, I think the better. And I'm really happy to play a small part in helping to create a world that is a little bit friendlier to people like us. Or if not friendlier, at least we know where to go.